Hey, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining our webinar today. We're going to go ahead and just give it about 1 extra minute here before we officially start for anybody who's having a hard time logging in or needs just that 1 extra minute to get logged in. And then at 1 minute after the top of the hour, we'll go ahead and kick things off officially. So once again, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining on time. And we'll give that 1 minute grace period for those folks that might be having a little bit of trouble. All right, I have 1 minute after the top of the hour, so we'll go ahead and do our official start. Welcome. Thank you for joining this do-it-yourself solar and storage webinar with Fortress Power. My name is Tim Coates. I'm the regional sales manager here based in Hawaii, and that's where I'm delivering this webinar from. I'm pretty excited about this webinar because this month marks 20 years of me being in the solar and energy storage business. So 20 years ago, I got into this at a time when most of the systems out there were do-it-yourself. And we've seen quite a full circle moment happen with DIY solar, DIY storage into, a really thriving industry of contractors and whatnot out there. And now we're back coming around to solar and storage again, and I'm excited to talk with all of you about that. I'm joined by Anthony Pingeser, and he's going to go ahead and help facilitate. Anthony, you want to do a quick intro?
Sure. Thanks, Tim. Thanks for hosting this. Thanks, everybody, for joining today. We're excited to present Fortress Power and everything we can do to help the DIY community. Feel free to list any questions in the chat. We'll get to those at the end of the presentation. You can also react to certain things at the bottom using some certain emojis. But yeah, Tim, take it away. Let's have at it.
Do it. Right on. Thanks. Okay. A couple of housekeeping items. Like Anthony mentioned, participants will be on mute, so we won't be able to hear you. But I do encourage you to please use the Q&A feature for any and all questions that you might have. That's how these webinars become interactive. That's how they become informative for you, is by asking questions. Lots of questions are great. We love that. And it, it really helps to make it a more interesting experience for everyone. Finally, this webinar is being recorded, so if you want to go back and reference it, you'll be able to. If you want to share it with your friends, you'll be able to do that as well. Some quick agenda items. We're going to start with safety at Fortress Power. Safety is our absolute top priority, so that's why it's the top of the list there. We'll have a very, very brief history of solar and storage. We'll talk about the advantages of Fortress Power lithium iron phosphate batteries. And for that matter, why would you want to work with Fortress Power in the first place? I think we've got some great reasons for that. One of the questions that always comes up with do-it-yourselfers, at least in my personal experience, is just trying to understand where to start. How do we start? And so we'll cover that. We will get into the design and installation fundamentals, keeping in mind that this is a short webinar that makes it difficult to get into the very nitty-gritty details of installing a complete system with solar and storage, whether that's a standalone system or grid-tied system, which is why I'm going to bring you to some additional resources and kind of show you and point you in the direction of where you can find out some more information. And finally, we'll talk about where you can actually purchase our products. All right, safety first. As I mentioned, at Fortress Power, safety is our top priority. Safety for you, safety for the homeowners, safety for the installers. So it all starts with reading the manual. Please, we've got excellent manuals that are available for you to download on our website. So if you do end up purchasing our products and you want to install it yourself, I must encourage you to read the complete manual before you start trying to put things together. And please pay very, very close attention to the safety precautions and instructions section. Finally, if you need a little bit more information on safety, there's always some resources available, including OSHA, the National Electrical Code, National Fire Protection Agency, your local authority having jurisdiction, that's your local inspectors. And, always a great idea to go ahead and consult a licensed electrician. So safety first, everyone. All right, let's talk a little bit about the history of solar and storage just for a moment, just to get us pointed in the right direction. So way back when, before I guess even color pictures were available, solar and storage was used for telecom. And some folks said, wow, this is really great. It's a nice way to bring electricity and power to remote locations where, I might not have access to the utility. So they cobbled together solar panels and lead acid batteries. And listen, what they were able to pull off was amazing. I'm always impressed when I see these systems out there in the wild, but standalone systems with lead acid batteries were not for everybody, which led us to grid-tied systems, which actually can be for everybody. And these are a great option for saving money on your electric bill, for reducing your reliance on fossil fuels, that type of thing. However, with grid-tied systems, which those are the ones that you're seeing out there all over the neighborhoods, there are no batteries and therefore no backup. So when the power goes out, the power goes out. Those solar electric panels on those rooftops are just there to offset the utility bill. That leads us to Fortress Power. We want to provide your home with uninterrupted clean power. This means integrating solar energy, grid energy, battery storage, generators, and more. So we have a lot of options. There's a lot of features that you can take advantage of with Fortress Power products. We'll talk a little bit about those with you now. At the heart of the Fortress Power system is our lithium iron phosphate battery. So why would we want to go with lithium iron phosphate batteries? Or why would you want to go with lithium iron phosphate batteries? Well, number one, again, top of the list, they're safe. Second, there's zero maintenance. So if you guys are familiar, if your folks are familiar with older battery systems, then you may also be familiar with the idea that they required quite a bit of maintenance. You had to, balance them. You had to add water to them, and it was just a whole process. Distilled water. Nevertheless, these systems are designed to last for 15 or more years. So those are the clear top advantages of why you would want to go with Fortress Power lithium iron phosphate batteries. But let's break that down just a little further. In terms of applications, you can use our batteries for backup power. For time of use, you can program them to provide power during certain times when the utility charges you more for your electricity. For self-consumption, so if you want to make sure that you're just, supplying power to your home and your loads at that moment, even if you are grid tied, you can program our system to do that. And of course, for off-grid. Our depth of discharge can be up to 100%, although we typically set it for somewhere between 30 and 20% depth of discharge. That means that you can discharge these batteries down to where they only have 30% of their power or energy left. And this is unique to lithium iron phosphate batteries. The battery chemistry is extremely safe. This is very safe technology. And while, you may look at your lead acid battery column here and see that there's the risk of harmful gases. You may notice that there's, some other issues with generators and things of that nature. Take a look at what the other lithium ion solutions have going for them. There is a potential for thermal runaway or firing. So this is why at Fortress Power we've chosen to go with lithium iron phosphate batteries. So be sure you're making that clear distinction when you're out there shopping around. Life cycles can be 8,000 plus life cycles. Really, that translates to approximately 15 or more years. Warranty is 10 years, zero fuel cost, no maintenance, and at the end of the day, the cost per kilowatt hour of 14 cents, and you can compare that to the other technologies there, including your lithium-ion solutions, lead acid, and generators. So these are the reasons why you would want to go with Fortress Power's lithium iron phosphate batteries. But why would you want to go with Fortress Power? Well, number one, we've been your trusted partner since 2016. We are widely used for off-grid solutions, but please don't be fooled. We are able to be grid-tied. We are used for a number of diverse solutions. We even have commercial applications out there as well. Our customer service is excellent. In fact, it's unparalleled. Nobody else in the industry is offering the level of customer service that we provide. All of our tech support agents are US based, and they are all experts on our technology. We have an excellent warranty. And finally, we are the one-stop shop for your batteries, your inverter, and the accessories. So in a lot of scenarios, right, you'll be trying to couple somebody's batteries with someone else's inverters and try to make this all work. And, if something goes wrong, the inverter company is going to blame the battery company, and maybe the battery company is going to point fingers at the inverter company or the solar panel company. With Fortress Power, all of your products come from one manufacturer. Our systems are built and designed to work together. Our inverters and batteries are made, tested, and designed to work as one unit. And so with that, you can be confident that the system you get from Fortress is going to work correctly. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So this is the biggest question that I typically get from do-it-yourselfers, is really just, how do I even start this process? I don't even know where to begin. A great place to start is on our website. Go ahead and click on the support tab at the very top and scroll down to our sizing tool. And you're going to go ahead and start with our Fortress Power sizing tool. That is where you're going to begin this process for your do-it-yourself solar. Now, once you click on the Fortress Power System Designer, you'll be prompted to input some information. What is your application? Are you looking to design and install an off-grid system or a grid tied with backup? What is your power type? Typically, residential homes in the United States are 120 and 240 volts. We call that split phase or single phase. And most of your loads that you would want to power up are built and designed for 120 or 240 volts. We do have a 208 volt option. It is not part of our design tool at this moment. It is coming soon. But if you have a situation where you need to operate loads that are 208 volts, please contact us and we can help you build or design a system that you can build for 208 volts. The next piece of information you'll be prompted to input is the days of autonomy. We've got it preset for 1 day of autonomy, but let me talk a little bit about what that means in the first place. Days of autonomy means the number of days that your batteries will be able to power up your loads without having to be recharged. So, for example, if you live in a very cloudy location or a location where you expect that you might not get a lot of sun for an extended period of time, you may want to increase your days of autonomy. This in turn will increase the size of your battery bank and the size of your solar. Finally, you'll be prompted to input your installation location. So that's as simple as indoor or outdoor, and that helps us pick the right pieces of equipment for your particular job. Now, when it comes to designing a battery backup or a standalone system, we kind of work backwards, right? So we start with, what do we want to power? What do we want to have operating in the event of an outage? Or what do we want to operate in an off-grid, with an off-grid system? So we're going to begin with your load profile. You can go ahead and add your loads. You have various loads that you can add in the left-hand column for loads. You're going to add the quantity of those loads. So typically one refrigerator, one microwave, maybe you'll have multiple LED lights. We'll need to know the number of those loads. The running watts, how much power, watts is power, how much power is it going to require? And certain things like motors will have surge watts. So for example, a well pump motor will have a certain amount of watts that it'll draw right at the start when it starts up, and that'll be significantly higher than the running watts, which is the number of watts or the amount of power that it uses when it's actually up and running. So that'll be important to input as well, because we want to make sure that the system we recommend for you will be able to operate those motors. And then last, we need to know how many hours per day approximately that those loads are going to run. That's going to tell us, how much energy we need to provide to those loads, which again translates to the size of your battery bank. Now, while we have a lot of loads that are kind of pre-populated here, and you can use the drop-down menu to scroll through, and you can pick different things, you also have the option to add your own loads. So if while you're using the system designer, you notice that there's not a specific load in there that you have that you want to ensure you're able to back up or power up off grid, go ahead, check for the appliance nameplate ratings on your load and input that information into the system designer. You can add custom entries. It's a very handy feature there, and this is going to really help to make sure that you have the right sized battery bank and the right sized inverter for ensuring that your loads will be met. Once you've added your load profile, you'll be prompted to go ahead and select your system. Our Fortress Power Design tool will take the information that you inputted from system requirements. It'll take the information that you inputted for your load profile, power requirements, and we will go ahead and automatically put together several different packages of our products that will work for your particular application. And I really enjoy this this feature, because what I can do here is I can bounce back and adjust my loads. If, say, like I'm looking at this system and I say, wow, that's a tremendously large battery bank, and that's a lot of power. Maybe I don't need that waffle iron to work in an off-grid situation or a battery backup situation. Or maybe I can live without my pool pump. So now you can kind of toggle back and forth between the screens and make adjustments to fine-tune the system that you're looking for. Step 4 is going to ensure that you have enough solar to charge and keep those batteries charged in an off-grid scenario or a backup scenario. In step 4, you'll choose the solar panels or solar modules that you want to use. And this is a drop-down menu where you can see it says choose in red. And you'll click there, and there are dozens upon dozens of solar panel manufacturers listed there with their models. So you'll click the solar panel manufacturer that you like, you'll click the model that you want, and it'll auto-populate the power, the volts, the amps, and finally, the important part for folks doing the installation is the number of modules in series. That's a string, the number of modules for your string, and the number of strings in parallel. Ultimately, you'll get your array size, and then your maximum voltage and your minimum voltage. All of that auto-populates. We'll click View Results, and we'll reach the results page of the Fortress Power System Designer. Take a look at the bottom and you can see in this particular specific example, we chose Q cells. The panel model was chosen. It's the Q-Peak Duo XL 495. And for this system, we're speccing 32 panels, 8 of them in a string. This is going to ensure that the voltages are correct. It's very important that you pay close attention to the number of modules in the string. Overall array size is 15.8 kilowatts with a max voltage of 456, a minimum of 370. You can look and see that the selected system for this particular job is eFlex Max with an NV 8kW inverter and 8 eFlex Max batteries. Now again, if this kind of is something that you want to sort of experiment with and you want to fine tune it, you can go back to the load profile page. You can make some adjustments there. You can click forward again and see what your results are until you get right down to that system that you're looking for. If you'd like some other design options, you're interested in what other products might work with our batteries and our inverters and that type of thing, feel free to go back to our support tab on our website and click on the minimum inverter sizing tab or link and gather more information about other products that are out there. But again, my strong encouragement here is to get all of your products from Fortress Power for the simple reason that, like I said, we have designed it, tested it, installed it, and ensure that it all works together. And we know how to help you in the event that there's any sort of challenge or troubleshooting that you might need to do. Okay, so for our design and installation fundamentals, always remember to read the manual. Determine your load profile, size the system to meet those loads, and finally, size your PV system to ensure that your batteries will, or to ensure that your solar panels will keep your batteries charged. Now, I said that I would point you in the direction of some additional resources because in a short webinar like this, it's really difficult to get into all those nitty-gritty details of exactly which bolts to turn and how to build that system from the ground up. So please take advantage of these additional resources that are out there. We've got some great videos with complete installation steps. You can find those on YouTube. You can find those on our website. We also have downloadable installation guides. Also, it's very important that you take advantage of these installation guides, read them thoroughly. I know that seems like a really kind of a basic thing to ask and it seems like a no-brainer, right? Read the manual, but oftentimes that doesn't happen, and that's where folks run into trouble. So read the installation guides, read the manual. And then finally, we have our online support center. So in the event that you need some questions answered that you're unable to find the answers to in the videos or the installation guides, you can always get in touch with us, and we will do our very best to help you get your system designed and built in a way that's going to work for you, and above all, be safe. Finally, we really have to ask ourselves, okay, maybe this sounds great and we're ready to start moving forward. You've designed your system, you've read the manual, you understand the installation process. Where do I get this product from? Well, we've got some of our top partners here listed on this slide, including Off Grid Living. Feel free to visit their website and you can see the Fortress Power products that they have available for purchase. We also have been working with some other folks as well, with a specific emphasis on do-it-yourselfers. So for DIY folks, these are some of a few of the folks that we work with. And would love to see you go ahead and purchase products from them. All right. Once again, I want to thank everyone so much for joining. Thank you for taking the time today. And we've got a little bit of time left for Q&A. Anthony, I'm not, as you know, I'm not able to see the Q&A questions. So if you have any out there that you'd like me to answer, you can read them to me. I'll be happy to do my best to answer.
Definitely. The first one that came through in the public Q&A, and there were a couple that were sent my way privately, but the first one is, are all of your systems able to be grid tied or off grid?
Yes, 100%. All of our systems can either be grid tied with battery backup or completely off grid. In fact, another way that a lot of folks will install these systems is they'll have what I refer to as a off grid system with grid backup. So that can also be sort of an interesting spin on the way that the system can be installed, where you're primarily powered up by your batteries, but you have a bunch of visitors and using a bunch of electricity, you can use grid as your backup.
Second question. Can I add more batteries to my system after initial installation?
Great question. Okay, so the short answer is yes, but there is a bit of a caveat. This can be done within the first year, maybe 2 years, not more than that, because once batteries start to get used and, adding new batteries to a system that's been installed and operating for a while can actually cause inefficiencies to your new battery. So after about 2 years, you would want to go ahead and replace all the batteries or just add a whole new system.
Good to know. You have several different battery models. How do I decide which batteries to use?
Okay. So I think that the answer to that question, I believe, really depends upon your application and what are you trying to accomplish with this system. For example, we have our eFlex Max batteries, which are 5.4 kilowatt hours each. They're of a size that's very easy to install. They're not very heavy, and really a good choice for powering up a system that doesn't require a whole lot of energy necessarily, although we can stack our batteries together and meet your needs there. The next option that I would consider is our eForce batteries, which are a little bit bigger. They're 9.6 kilowatt hours each, and they are stackable. They're very easy to install. They're outdoor rated. Both of those batteries, by the way, are outdoor rated. I think what it comes down to is, where am I going to install the batteries? What are my space constraints? What battery capacity do I want? And what type of installation process am I looking for? The eForce, really easy to install. Very, very little wiring involved with the eForce at all. The eFlex Max, a lot more flexibility, as the name kind of implies, in terms of where you can put it. It's smaller, more compact, less storage capacity, but a great option as well for do-it-yourselfers.
A couple more. Do your batteries require a vent to eliminate flammable gases?
That is one of the huge advantages of our lithium iron phosphate batteries, is that they do not emit any flammable gases. So venting is not required, and we have documentation to help you with that in the event that you're looking for getting an inspection and you have these batteries installed in an equipment room or something of that nature, and you want to make sure that it passes an inspection. A lot of inspectors with battery, when they look at batteries, start asking these questions. Is there a vent? Is there a fan? That is one step that you do not need to add.
Along the same lines, can I use your batteries in an extremely cold environment? And I guess conversely, can they be used in tropical settings as well?
Absolutely. So one of the features with our eForce batteries is that they actually have a built-in heating system. So battery capacity drops as they get colder and colder. You're able, how can I phrase this better? You're unable to pull as much energy out of your batteries as they get colder. The energy is still there, you're just not able to use it. The eForce battery has built-in heaters that allow you to use those batteries to their full capacity. They also are built for higher temperature ranges as well.
And last question that I just saw come through, actually, no, one just came through as well. Is there a wattage limit for backup generators used in your inverters?
Great question. The wattage limit for the inverter will be based on the inverter size itself. So, for example, with our 12 kW NV inverter, you can have up to a 12 kW inverter.
Great. Thank you, Alexis, for the question. And last question, it looks like from Emily. Do you have an app to, I guess, track power consumption, usage, basically track how your system is operating?
100%. So you have a couple of options with how you can track how the system is operating. For folks that want to connect their system to the internet and go online, you can monitor that system using our app. You can also monitor the system using the LED screen on the inverter itself. Both are great ways to understand what's going on with your battery state of charge, with the amount of power that you're using, and the way the system is being charged and discharged.
That's all the questions that I see. So yeah, thanks, Tim, for everything. I guess if you just want to put your final thoughts out there.
Sure thing. So once again, thanks to everybody for joining. I really hope you'll take advantage of the Fortress Power system design tool that we really highlighted in this particular webinar. That is definitely a great starting point for anybody who's going to do it themselves. Again, strong emphasis on always reading the manual. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. And finally, if you're interested in purchasing Fortress Power products, please contact one of our partners that we've listed here. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.